Hi guys. So for my problem of practice, I have found that many families feel overwhelmed and underprepared for completing the transition process. Many families don't know where to start, what to look for, what their student even qualifies for, or even those additional steps that many families have to complete, like Social Security and getting a Maryland state ID. So, my research question is: how more prepared do families feel about transition when provided resources and timelines to different steps of transition? So, in order to start this project, I interviewed four families and two transition teachers. Everyone kind of told me a little bit of a different story because that's the beauty of transition is it's typically family led and based on the family goals and kind of surrounded around that student's skills and abilities will be kind of show where that student could kind of end up post high school. So, but everyone kind of all had the same thing to say, that we need to start earlier and we need to start before teachers start telling you to do things. So um, that's kind of been the process all along, is everyone needs to start earlier. Um, Many families said that they felt like they needed more information from teachers and they felt like teachers were withholding things from them. From talking with transition teachers, they said they kind of are withholding because they don't want families to feel overwhelmed with information. So that when they get to each age, they'll be like at 16, they'll give them one task to do. At 17, they'll give them another task. But a few families said that they just wish they had it all. On the other hand, transition teachers said that they don't give everything at the same time because many families would just have it piling up on their fridge or maybe just on an empty desk and end up throwing it away and not do it. So they feel like it's more feasible to just have them do one task at a time. So, but ultimately, many families said that they needed from talking to them was just a timeline to know when to complete things. What am I supposed to do next? And just a timeline to know what to do. And then they also asked for like a list of agencies. Where can my child go? Because my child has a lot of needs. Who will take my kid? So looking at those things, and then I reviewed some literature. And according to the article I read, it's called Parent Engagement in the Transition from School to Adult Life Through Culturally Sustaining Practices. According to this article, it is not the transition is not completed in a way to meet all families and abilities needs equally. So oftentimes it's saying that its transition is completed in a way to meet our students who have more affluent backgrounds needs, or students who have stay-at-home families needs. Many families reported that they had to either quit their job to complete transition, or the amount of work it took in to complete transition would account for a full-time job. And then the article also stated that it found that 20% of transition IEP goals were not determined by parents and students. So continuing along, my instructional plan on how I'm going to implement this would be making a timeline for families probably in a website format, showing them, okay, at 18 you need to complete this, at 19 you need to do this, but going as young as freshman year. I think families need to be thinking about these things, especially for our families with more significant needs, or our students with more significant needs. As early as middle school, like even earlier than that, because they need to know what their options are and how to get them there. Many of these families do have roadblocks. They do have barriers because of their child. So thinking about it earlier gets us moving, not in that spot where we don't want to be. And then making a list of agencies that are kind of pre-approved, but we know will take students with significant needs in our area. So the intervention will be that I'll have a PD with families, and I will kind of give them a pre and post test at the beginning and after the PD to see how they feel about transition, if they're feeling more comfortable, if they feel like this is something that is going to help them, or if it did help them. And that'll be my way of collecting data. So my hypothesis will be that given that they have a timeline and that they know each step by step what to complete at each stage, families will feel less anxious and more successful for transition. So the plan to do this, the impact will be that families will have a closer relationship with teachers because they'll be working really collaboratively with each other, kind of working together to find that best transition spot. And the hope will be that we'll come together all the time to talk about transition. And they do with the transition specialist, but this will be like, as a whole team, we're coming together. Okay, what do we need to do next? Let's look at it. Let's come back to the table. And the good thing is many of these families that I'm doing this with, I'll see through to transition, and they can kind of give me that feedback on what do I need to improve on? What do I need to do better with? And then after I'm finished the intervention, I'll share my results with my team kind of through a PD. Hey guys, this is what we need to do for transition to make sure our families are as involved as they can be. So we're not hitting that 3 months before school is done and they're like, what's next? Because we really want to kind of take that away completely. But that's my plan.